Hey everyone, it's Marianne from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I want to wrap up the Henry Garrido letter. This is video 5. So let's go right to the letter and finish up the last page. So this is the bottom of page 3. Yesterday, we went over the last paragraph beforehand, which infuriated a lot of people, having Henry Garrido talk about how he feels it's inequitable and that it's an unfair system that administers an equitable distribution of benefits to the vast majority of members that DC37 represents, including people of color, women, and lowest paid city workers. All of those people, women of color, women, and low city workers, of which I am a DC37 retiree, trying to explain to Henry Garrido, why did you agree to do this when we are the very population you're saying you were trying to protect, and you screwed us? I mean, I can't get any more specific than that. It infuriated the entire Black and Latino caucuses of the retirees that my phone has been lit up like mad because of him doing this. And not just him, the entire MLC. So in finishing this off, I have to say, Henry, people are not happy. Retirees are not happy with you for invoking this. You had a duty to protect us. You had a duty to protect your retirees. You had a duty, a fiduciary responsibility to protect your active workers. Forcing privatization on us is something the union would never have done. Victor is rolling over in his grave, just hearing that you tried to privatize a public health benefit. You're against privatization. Michael Mulgrew is against privatization of public education, but yet you went and privatized our healthcare. The federal government, our federal elected officials, have been working with us on trying to fix the ills of Medicare Advantage. You talk about greedy corporations stealing money, or you have corporate greed in hospitals, you're saying to everyone, and pharmaceuticals, but then you allow an insurance company to have full control over our health benefits. Did you even read the contract to know that they can change the premium cost of our plan? There are so many things in the contract I don't think you're aware of. Did you also know that if Medicare reduces what it subsidizes to Aetna, that they can go back to the city or force upon the retirees premiums, additional copays, more costs? You don't have control over that, Henry. Because if the city refuses to pay the difference and CMS reduces, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid reduces what it pays Aetna, they're going to come to the city. And if the city refuses to pay, guess who they're coming to? The retirees. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at your history, because in 2017 and 2018, that's exactly what happened to HIP. When CMS reduced what it was paying HIP, because it is a Medicare Advantage plan, and the city wouldn't pay for it, the city also refused to pass the cost on to retirees. What did they do? They gutted the plan for services. They carved out the drug plan, put a premium on it. They added copays where they didn't exist and darn near doubled them where they already did. That's what they did, because CMS reduced the subsidy. With all the hearings on Capitol Hill about all of Medicare fraud, which Aetna is a part of that investigation, why would you put us in a situation of privatized, for-profit, greedy insurers that manage your healthcare? This makes no sense. If you're okay with that, Henry, then you should just end all of your healthcare plans and everybody goes into HIP, HMO, including yourself. And I want to know, what are you doing with DC37 Med Team? Because you haven't said anything about that either. Because I believe if you kill GHI Senior Care or GHI Emblem, you're going to kill DC37 Med Team. Another jewel in the crown of the district council that is destroyed. First, we don't have a building. Then we don't have a donut hole coverage. And now what happens to DC37 Med Team? All the things that the retirees over the decades of service to your union, DC37, built, they're all gone. In closing this letter, This has just been frustrating. In closing this letter, he writes, "We are fighting these needed changes, not just for the sake of savings, but to put an end to a culture of inequity that exists in our healthcare system today. For too long, DC37 has faced more pressure to keep costs low, while others reap richer benefits as a result of our members' sacrifice. Enough is enough." Well, Henry, we're kind of perplexed by that because you are one of the main stakeholders of DC37. You are the executive director of DC37, but you are a main player of the MLC. You and Michael could pretty much dictate everything that goes on, and you do. Some of the union presidents even say, well, I know as soon as I'm finished talking, Michael and Henry are going to vote and they're going to get their way. They already know you control the power. It's not democratic. So we ask you, what the hell does this mean? If you're referring to the United Federation of Teachers or Sanitation, I guess you're correct because you gave $1 billion to the teachers for raises, and they promised you tiered hospitals where your members would be charged for using non-HHC hospitals. They have SHIP, supplemental health benefits. When Mulgrew reneged, you were left holding the bag. Your members are the lowest paid and lowest pensioned, and you wanted us to pay $200 per person per member, Medicare retiree, a month for a plan that pays 20%. Some local 372 retirees make less than $800 a month, Henry. And yet you're okay with that. So I ask you, where's the inequity? Where's the inequity come from? What inequity are you talking about? You see, because you have suppressed the HIP rate, which reduced what the city had to pay for everyone, employed and retired. You agreed to that. You didn't have to. And by doing that, the city admits in its own documents, it reduced what it had to pay, but it also caused the stabilization fund to drain at an even faster rate. I don't think you've thought about this. You know, we could be smug, we could be angry, we could be all of those things all wrapped in one. The problem is you agreed to things that were bad. And when I say you, I don't mean just you personally, Henry. I mean many of you. But you allowed it to happen and you still haven't walked it back. That 14 and 18 agreement never had a blow-up clause. You only prepared what would happen if you made too much money. You never prepared if you didn't have enough, other than the arbitrator that you pre-selected would come in and change it and force something on you. But his term is expired in 2020, and he doesn't have any jurisdiction over anything under number 5, which has to do with the choices of what you chose, Medicare Advantage. So you played a game. You broke the law. We stopped you. We're trying to educate you. We've been trying to protect ourselves and protect you at the same time. You have a deficit. But I want to ask you as well, you have one power. One, collective bargaining. And collectively, you could have used it in order to empower yourselves. If the MLC unions all got together and said as a unit, sorry, Bob Ling, go screw yourself. We're not doing this. I don't think it could have happened. But I want to share with you that one part again, because it's very, very powerful. From that case, Chemical Workers versus Pittsburgh Glass. And yet, what they said the unions would never do, you're doing. Listen to this.
I don't think that Oliver was intended to go that far at all. And now to say that these retirees who have no bargaining strength whatsoever, who are not competing for jobs, they're not competing for wages, that they present such a threat to these active employees who have the power to shut down this operation anytime to get their demands, and say that these retirees threaten them so much that the actives have to have control over their benefits, I think becomes almost an absurd argument. And I don't think that Oliver was intended to go that far at all. In no case, prior to this one, has the board ever come to this court or any other court and made the argument that a union has the exclusive right to represent people who are not in the bargaining unit. And the board admits here that retirees are not in the bargaining unit. In fact, the board has uniformly excluded them from all bargaining units, saying they do not have a community of interest with the active employees and probably are not employees at all. They've excluded them. They excluded them here. They set up a unit of only active employees. They did not include these people. It seems to me that there is one aspect of the act, that is the industrial democracy aspect, which I would like to discuss next.
And I'm going to say it again. Intro 1099 by Councilman Barron is not illegal. It is funded. It does not impair your bargaining. It is funded because Administrative Code 12-126 says the city will pay the full cost of health coverage up to the HIP HMO for every employee, retiree, and their dependent. Henry, it's covered because the HIP HMO is $920 on an individual basis. Our plan is less than about $200. It's funded. Even Alan Klinger said it's not illegal by itself, but that in his interpretation, that if the city had to pay for retirees, it would be less than city would want to pay for you. And you, sir, should have walked that back. And you should have said, well, Mr. Klinger, well, city, those are our retired workers. We're going to be them one day. We are retirees in training, and we're not going to let that happen. That's what you should have said, Henry. The next time you need help at a bargaining table, call us, because we'd be glad to sit with you anytime. Don't sell yourselves out, and don't sell us out with you. You have a lot of value. Make sure you use it. Labor used to be strong. Don't damage the labor movement. We put a lot of effort in it to get it here. What's happening today, you're allowing Bob Lynn and Ken Gardner to walk all over you. And you're taking us with you. And we're begging you to walk it back. Tell them that what they did in the 2014 agreement was absolutely a horrible agreement. You tell Bob Lynn and Stan Brezanoff that that was not acceptable, that that agreement was defective. You never prepared any provision that plan wasn't successful. And because it's been fraught with litigation, that what you tried to do violated the law, that agreement should go back to the table. End it, Henry, Harry, Michael, and everybody else in the MLC. End it, because you can. You walk it back and tell them we need to fix this. They failed you, but you also haven't fought it. We would be glad to walk into that room with you. Till the next video, have a good day.